Hi, I'm Rochester Chamber Communications Director Dan Smith here with ESL Federal Credit Union CEO and Rochester Chamber Board member Faheem Masood. Faheem, how are you and the family handling the isolation protocols?
Well, we're all adapting is the best I can say. It is a different rhythm, but all things considered, not too bad for us. So we're adapting to the environment.
Governor Cuomo just announced recently that he's extending the New York State on pause initiatives until at least May 15th. How has ESL shifted operations and adjusted to respond to these protocols?
So very early on, we activated a crisis management or a pandemic plan, and over the years have considered what alternatives there would be. So for us, it was very early on identifying and being clear on what we were trying to address. And for us, we wanted to make sure we were addressing the key stakeholders, our employees, our customers, and of course, the community at large. And then we also looked at what would guide us in our decision-making relative to that. And we really focused on our values and really being true to those values and prioritized issues from there. So the first thing was paying attention to our employees, giving them some level of certainty and getting them comfortable in the situation we were in, while trying to conform with our community's attempt to minimize the impact of this COVID-19 pandemic. Then we had to understand what are the critical services that we need to continue for our customers, what can be done remotely, what can be delivered in person. And the ones that were in person needed to be managed in a very specific way, again, to minimize risk to employees and to the customers. So we adjusted our operations. We have numerous people working from their homes, from multiple locations, working different schedules. Services being delivered in alternate manners. Again, as I said, some things still have to be done face-to-face in person. We created some changes to allow to minimize risk in those situations. And then when we heard from the community what the needs were, in particular from what the community fund that was established by United Way and the Community Foundation to respond to the immediate needs, we did step up and made a contribution of $1 million into that fund as well.
And corporate social responsibility is a big part of ESL's mission. I want to shift now to the federal government recently announced that its Paycheck Protection Loans Program has run out of money for at least this round. What has ESL's experience been with servicing these paycheck protection loans?
So we've had over about $100 million in loans approved. I believe we had over 800 some applications. And I'm pretty confident that Congress will take action to expand the program and continue it, because obviously the demand has been extremely high. And to put it into context, ESL on the SBA side has been one of the leading providers in our community with about 140 loans done during the course of 1 year. If you think of just ESL doing well over 800 applications in this area, just consider the volume the SBA was taking in relative to what they normally do. So it's been frustrating for us, for the businesses, but I'm sure for the SBA also. I think the program is well designed. It's been bumpy in execution, and it's gotten better along the way. The systems are more responsive. It was very challenging initially, but every day it improves. And to the point where things were running much smoother at this point. Still bumpy, but smoother. And as you mentioned, the money has, at this point, we were advised it has run out. But as most people know, Congress is considering clearly the expansion in that. And I think that would be very welcome given the demand that we're seeing, and very much needed by businesses.
And businesses are eager to get back to business. Workers want to get back on the job. We don't know yet when this might happen, but there is planning happening in many circles now for the post-pandemic time. What is your vision for how this should roll out?
Well, I think we will certainly take cues from what the health authorities are telling us. So we have to start thinking about alternative ways in which we will come back. What are the different ways, paths this might follow? We're hearing everything from this is going to be a glide path back to services. So we have to think of different alternatives, different pathways here, because obviously this is unprecedented. There isn't a formula to follow, but we need to start thinking of alternatives and planning for that. And at the same time, being cognizant of the critical needs that are emerging in our community for businesses, but also for employees and individuals throughout the community, so that we prioritize according to the now current immediate needs as we come out of the crisis. These aren't normal times, and our action can't be a normal action. It is important for us to respond based on the critical needs that are relevant in this current situation.
Yes, and the uncertainty certainly is frustrating among many people. Speaking of frustration, we are hearing from many of our Rochester Chamber members who are struggling, looking toward us for help. As a Rochester Chamber board member, what is your message to our membership?
I would like to congratulate the Chamber staff. Working remotely, you have been doing an admirable job in getting information out to businesses, trying to support them on what resources are available, what's happening, keeping them well informed, and bringing their voice forward to our government officials, which is very important because the government plays a very important role here. I think for all of us in Rochester, we have to remember we are in this together. And I know the Chamber will take a leadership role along with many of our other institutions throughout Rochester to provide solutions that will help in this situation. Make no mistake, these are challenging times. And but I think when we work together, as I am sure we will find solutions to that. Rochester has a long history of being resilient and being able to adapt to that. So I'm confident that we will work together to find the solutions to support each other to a better future.
Very well said. We're really looking forward to seeing you again in person. ESL Federal Credit Union CEO and Rochester Chamber Board Member Faheem Masood, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Dan.